The better we understand the behavior and ecological niche of an endangered species, the better chance we have of saving it. Okay, so the better we understand it, the better chance we have of saving it. And the more individuals of a species we study, the better we understand it. Therefore, so essentially what we're saying here is the more individuals of a species we study, so the more, like, the bigger our sample size, the better we understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And the better that we understand it, the better chance we have of saving it. Therefore, so what part of the argument are we looking for in our answer choice? What is therefore an indicator
The
of?
conclusion.
Yes. So what kind of question is this essentially?
These are the not fill in the
What is a fill in the blank? But don't think about a fill in the blank. Essentially, if we're trying to find a if we're trying to conclude something from a stimulus, what kind of question type do you think this is most similar to?
like the main conclusion ones.
No, because the main conclusion, you'll just find what the conclusion is in the argument. Must be true.
Uh,
Because essentially, like that drill we did where we put two premises together to conclude something else that we can conclude. Like we have two premises, like what's something else that we can conclude from it? That's essentially what we're doing here, right?
mm-hmm.
Like what
Yeah.
else must be true based on these two premises? And so what would you what would you predict here? Is like, what do you think therefore we could conclude based on these two?
Like the more individuals of a species we study, the better chance we have of saving them or saving it.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and start with A.
Many endangered species will become extinct before we have the knowledge that is necessary to save them. I don't know.
Do we know that many endangered will become extinct? Can we conclude that?
No.
No, we have no idea. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we have all the knowledge in the world already and none are going to come extinct. So we get to cross this one off. All right, what about B?
A continued reduction of wildlife habitat will make the preservation of many species impossible. Well, we don't talk about like wildlife habitat.
Excellent. So we can get rid of that one. That doesn't have to be true.
Knowledge that contributes to saving endangered species becomes harder to get as species become more endangered. Uh,
You love it, leave it, or hate it.
I don't really love it.
Hate it.
I guess.
I actually would leave this one.
Okay.
If I'm thinking
I
like,
don't know.
okay, because like, what is our stimulus saying? Our stimulus is like, hey, the more individual species we have, the more we are able to understand it. And the more that we understand something, the better chance we have to save it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens if we have fewer species to study?
Then we don't understand it as much or like
Yeah,
less
would it become
understanding.
harder? Or would getting the knowledge that helps save them become harder to get?
Yeah.
That's why I want to leave C. Is I like how this is like the knowledge that contributes to saving species becomes harder to get as they become more endangered. Because yeah, if there's less of these things, this knowledge is going to be harder to get.
That makes sense, yeah.
All right, but let's just leave it for now and try D.
To save endangered species is more important to acquire the right kind of knowledge than to take action. That one's like not.
Completely irrelevant. We don't know what is, we're not comparing anything. We don't know what's more important. We can't say that based off our stimulus, so we can cross that one off.
And the impact of human study of endangered species is sometimes more harmful than beneficial. We don't really know that either, like the impact of it.
We never even talk about this.
Yeah.
So we get to cross that one up. So even even though like C is kind of hard to see, it's the only one that even remotely could be true.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Awesome. What did you say for this one? It's
Uh,
a hard question. Like, don't feel like a lot of people like don't or like I have no idea.
I put A. I had A and C were the ones that I was between.
Yep. And that's just like we don't know what will happen in the future.
Yeah.